Hello! Welcome or welcome back. This is the first book haul video I've made for the channel. I got 10 good books for only $37.13, and I'm very happy about it. March 14th, I've almost filled up this entire shelf with secondhand books. All right, I'm here. I'm definitely judging a book by its cover right now. Welcome home. Last week, it was brought to my attention that there was a pretty good used bookstore in Pahrump, Nevada, the town that we moved to last year. I wasn't expecting much, but I was pleasantly surprised, and the 10 books I got were pretty dang good, and it was a steal. So maybe you're wondering, why used books? Why not splurge and get new books for myself? Because I'm an adult. I make my own money. Of course I deserve it. And I would love to give you some, righteous excuse that's related to anti-consumerism, but it's not. 3 main reasons. First, new books are expensive. Second, I'm the breadwinner of my household, and it feels bad to buy things for myself, to splurge on myself. The amount of guilt I would be feeling for months if I bought myself 10 new books, I'm not sure I would ever recover. And 3, in my experience, whenever you buy a new book, I am hesitant to actually read it and open it because I don't want to mess with it. But when I buy a used book, I don't feel guilty if some of the pages get creased, if I kind of tear a little corner off the cover or the back cover, because it's already used. I didn't ruin anything that wasn't already kind of ruined, and it helps me feel a lot more comfortable with my reading experience. Also, bonus reason, I got a toddler and a newborn. They're going to ruin my stuff. I'd rather them ruin books that cost me $1 as opposed to books that cost me $30. So let's just get into it. I was very surprised to see that they had Terry Pratchett books at this bookstore. I've been going to used bookstores for several years now, and I've only ever seen 2 Discworld books at the library bookstores, and I've been to every library in Las Vegas. So when I came in to this bookstore and I found Weird Sister, Guards, Unseen Academicals, and Equal Rights, and I got them for half off, I was ecstatic. Terry Pratchett is one of my favorite authors. I've recently returned to the Discworld universe. He's so witty, he's so humorous, and he's so unknown over here in the States. And that's just a shame because he is one of the best fantasy authors of all time. Definitely, perhaps the best satirical authors of the last 100 years. I also picked up his Bromeliad trilogy. I've heard some good things about this. I've read some reviews, and 3 books for 1, when you already get it half off because of a promotion at the used bookstore, very happy indeed. I think eventually I'm going to have a bookshelf just dedicated to Terry Pratchett novels because I love him, my wife loves him, and I want to be able to have enough books from Terry Pratchett that when I recommend him to a friend, I'm comfortable lending out a book. And I'm well on my way because of the book haul today. The next book I got, I was very excited about until I realized that I had made a mistake because I picked up Janny Wurtz's Fugitive Prince because it said Alliance of Light Volume 1. Janny Wurtz is a phenomenal author from what I've heard, and she's about to finish her series, The War for Light and Shadows. She started in 1993. The last book in the series is coming out in May. So I was like, ooh, I found the first book, only to realize that it's the 4th book in the series overall. It's like the first book in the 3rd story arc. So confusing, a little upset with myself. I should have done some research before I bought this, but $2.50 for a Janny Wurtz novel. This series is criminally underrated, and it almost went out of print. And to think that now it's getting all this hype and momentum on BookTube, you really love to see it, and hopefully I can find the first 3 books in the series from the library or to used bookstore soon because I want to dive into this series while everyone on BookTube is reading it over the next year and a half. The next book I found was a steal, an oldie but a goodie. The first 3 volumes in the series I've heard a lot of good things about, and I have never seen any of these books at any of the used bookstores I had been to until today, and the first 3 books I got were in Glenn Cook's very popular, very old school, the granddaddy of grimdark fantasy, the Black Company series from Glenn Cook. I wanted to dive into this because it's a major influence in several of the series I plan on tackling in the next few years, particularly Malazan, Book of the Fallen, Stephen Erickson, Joe Abercrombie, Mark Lawrence, George R.R. Martin. They all speak very highly of this series. And I feel like it's kind of cool to read like the series that influence many of the most renowned series we are aware of in present day. And I've heard The Black Company is very much an acquired taste. You either love it or you hate it. Hopefully I love it, because I don't see a lot of booktubers talking about it. And perhaps there's not much of a market for it, but I'm a little bit of a hipster. I like to go against the grain. And I think if I could find some love in my heart for a series that's underappreciated on BookTube, I think that could be pretty dang cool. My TBR is a mile long. I follow many authors. I'm reading so many series at the moment that are ongoing. But there is one author in particular I always go to his section at the used bookstores, and that author is Stephen King. And I was able to find 3 good Stephen King books: The Bazaar of Bad Dreams, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, and The Institute. I got these 2 books in particular because if you've probably noticed, I've been doing a lot of YouTube shorts about Stephen King short stories, and I want to finish all of his short fiction in 2024. His bibliography is massive. I'm not going to finish all of Stephen King's books this year, but I could read all of his anthologies and all of his novellas. That's a very manageable piece of his bibliography. I'll get onto his longer works next year, but for this year, all of his short stories and novellas, and all the books related to the Dark Tower series, I finished those, I'll be quite happy. I was happy to get The Institute because this is the second Stephen King book I ever read. I read Carrie first, and that was like, I had mixed feelings about. The Institute, I enjoyed it immensely. It was the first new Stephen King book that I read, and I don't know what a lot of his fans are saying. New King is still really good. I think this read will hold up on a reread. I look forward to tackling it again sometime in the future. But right now, I'm just glad I have it on my shelf because I have a lot of Stephen King books on this bookshelf. And if I could just have every one of his works in my library, that's a pretty good accomplishment. One of my main bookish projects I've had since I started this channel, it's this bookshelf. I was at a thrift store and I bought this bookshelf for $20. And I have been filling it up only with used and secondhand books. And it's almost done, especially after these 10 books. I have a little bit over half a shelf left to fill. And so far, filling up this bookshelf, and including the price of this bookshelf, has only cost me $128.86. Considering a lot of these books are like fancy Stephen King hardcovers, that's a steal. Like 5 of these books could have been well over $120. So I'm saving major moolah. I'm going to be prowling used bookstores until I fill up this bookshelf. And maybe by then, I'll have the big bucks. You'll know when I make it big, because I won't be buying used books. It'll be all new, special edition, hardcovers, hard copies when I get to that point in my life. But for right now, I'm very content with used books. So there you have it, my first book haul video for the channel. I'm not gonna lie, it probably felt just a teensy bit good to do some retail therapy and to buy myself some new, old, used books. And I can't wait to dive into these stories. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, push the little thumbs up icon, subscribe to my channel, and all that jazz. And I'll see you guys next time.